You know, and I thought, why have them if I'm not going to be with them? And we didn't send them away to boarding school. We just spend time with them, but that's my priority, being a mother.
It has been 25 years since the world bid farewell to what we all know as the first wife of the Beatles' Paul McCartney, Linda McCartney. But do you really know her? Beyond being Paul's partner, she had a remarkable journey of her own, one that deserves more attention than it gets. Before marrying Paul, she had a thriving career as a rock photographer, capturing iconic moments with bands like the Rolling Stones and The Who. And did you know? Rumors even swirled that she was part of the Eastman Kodak family, though she wasn't. Just like many hidden tales waiting to be told, let's journey back to where it all began, uncovering the layers of Linda McCartney's life that extend far beyond her role as Paul McCartney's wife. Let's reveal the untold truth of Linda McCartney, a woman who lived a life far beyond just being a Beatles' wife. Early years of Linda McCartney. Linda McCartney, born Linda Louise Eastman, entered the world in Manhattan, New York on September 24, 1941. She grew up with an older brother, John, and two younger sisters, Laura and Louise Jr. Her mom, Louise Sarah Eastman, came from a German Jewish family, while her dad, Lee Eastman, had Russian Jewish roots. Lee was a big-shot entertainment lawyer who represented famous folks like Harold Arlen and Willem de Kooning. Linda's childhood was filled with nature and animals, and she loved horseback riding. After finishing high school in 1959, she headed to Vermont College, where she earned her Associate of Arts degree in 1961. Her brother John, who followed in their dad's footsteps, later became Paul McCartney's lawyer and manager. Linda's passion for art led her to the University of Arizona, where she studied fine arts and dabbled in nature photography. However, tragedy struck when her mother died in a plane crash in 1962. This incident left Linda devastated, and she went to college without finishing her degree. That year, she was married to Joseph Melville C. Jr., which sadly didn't work out. We'll come to that later, but first let's see how she got into photography. Linda's journey through photography. Now, Linda McCartney's path to photography fame was anything but conventional. Linda McCartney's journey into photography began unexpectedly during her time in Arizona. Encouraged by a friend to take a photography class, Linda found herself captivated by the art form. Her first foray into photography with a borrowed camera and black and white film earned her praise from her instructor, igniting a passion that would shape her future. Upon returning to New York, Linda immersed herself in the city's vibrant art scene, studying famous American photographers like Dorothea Lange while honing her own craft. Her keen eye and natural talent soon caught the attention of those around her. Starting as a receptionist and editorial assistant at Town & Country magazine, Linda's interest in photography blossomed when she fell for photographer David Dalton in 1965. She didn't just watch from the sidelines. Linda soaked up every detail of Dalton's craft, from setting up shots to managing lighting. Soon she found herself behind the camera, effortlessly wrangling unruly musicians during shoots. Even Dalton was astonished by her knack for taking control. Her big break came when Town & Country got the chance to photograph the Rolling Stones on a yacht. Contrary to popular belief, Linda wasn't the only photographer on the trip. However, when photographer Danny Fields needed last-minute photos for his magazine, Linda came to the rescue. Her photographs stood out for their raw sensuality and unique perspective, catching the eye of none other than Mick Jagger himself. And so Linda ended up as the only photographer on board. It was a turning point. Suddenly I found that taking pictures was a great way to live and a great way to work, she recalled. What began as a chance encounter soon blossomed into a whirlwind romance. Linda found herself swept up in a world of excitement and freedom, liberated from the constraints of her past. She later reflected on this pivotal moment, acknowledging that photography had saved her and opened the door to a new chapter of her life. Despite her father's suggestion of formal training, Linda trusted her instincts instead. She honed her skills photographing horses and immersed herself in nature photography. Armed with a Leica camera, she captured moments that spoke to her soul. Although Linda McCartney's career as a photographer was nothing short of epic, it wasn't always smooth sailing. Despite briefly adopting her married name, Linda C., she quickly reverted to Eastman, refusing to conform to stereotypes. Her lens captured the essence of the 1960s music scene, immortalizing iconic figures like the Beatles, Rolling Stones, and Aretha Franklin. During that time, her portfolio grew rapidly. Linda became an unofficial house photographer at Bill Graham's Fillmore East, capturing iconic artists like Jimi Hendrix, Bob Dylan, and Janis Joplin. She even photographed Eric Clapton for Rolling Stone magazine, making history as the first woman to grace its cover with her photo. But it wasn't just about snapping shots. Linda's photographs told stories. Her lens captured the essence of the 60s music scene, earning her international acclaim. From galleries to the Victoria and Albert Museum in London, Linda's work left a lasting impact. But behind the glamorous facade, Linda faced financial constraints and logistical challenges. Without the luxury of agents or assistants, she navigated the bustling music scene alone, relying on public transport to capture pivotal moments in music history. Her talents extended beyond music. Linda also captured intimate moments, like the cover of Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson's single, "The Girl Is Mine." And when she married Paul, their love story graced the cover of Rolling Stone, with Linda behind the lens once again. The musical journey of Linda McCartney. After the Beatles disbanded in 1970, Paul McCartney took Linda under his wing, teaching her to play keyboards and recording the album Ram together as a duo. This marked the birth of their band, Wings, which soared to success in the 1970s, despite criticisms about Linda's singing. In a quirky twist, a single called Seaside Woman was released by an obscure band called Susie and the Red Stripes in 1977. Surprise! Susie and the Red Stripes were none other than Wings, with Linda on lead vocals. The song was Linda's response to claims that she wasn't a real songwriter, sparked by a lawsuit over her co-writing credits on Another Day. The McCartneys' musical collaboration didn't stop there. They earned an Oscar nomination for the song Live and Let Die, and Linda's solo album Wide Prairie, featuring Seaside Woman, was released after her passing in 1998. Paul McCartney's dedication to Linda extended beyond their partnership. He contributed to the choral album A Garland for Linda and dedicated his classical album Ecce Cor Meum to her memory. Their musical journey together was filled with highs and challenges, but their creative bond and love for music endured, leaving a lasting legacy in the world of music. Now that we've covered some of the more well-known facts about Linda McCartney, let's spill the beans of some lesser-known aspects of her life that might surprise you. A privileged upbringing. Contrary to the typical rags-to-riches story, Linda McCartney's childhood was one of privilege. Her father, Leopold Epstein, worked his way up from humble beginnings to establish his own successful law firm. Her mother came from a well-to-do background, and the family even had a beach house in East Hampton for their getaways. Despite this, Linda's relationship with her father was strained, as he didn't understand her passion for animals and music. As a teenager, Linda found solace in rock music, a stark contrast to her father's expectations of academic success. She immersed herself in the vibrant music scene of New York City, rubbing shoulders with stars and attending recording sessions. Her love for music became her escape from the pressures of her privileged upbringing. First marriage. In June 1962, Linda married Joseph Melville C. Jr. Her marriage to Joseph resulted in the birth of their daughter, Heather, later that year. But behind the facade of family life, Linda was going through inner turmoil. Feeling overwhelmed and questioning her circumstances, she found herself yearning for more. When Joseph accepted a job opportunity in Africa, Linda faced a pivotal moment in her life. Opting to return to New York as a newly divorced single mother, she began her journey of self-discovery and resilience. That's when Linda returned to using her maiden name after the divorce in 1965. Paul and Linda McCartney's relationship. The story of Paul and Linda McCartney's relationship began in a Soho club called the Bag O' Nails, where they crossed paths for the first time. It was anything but ordinary. Linda, immersed in her work on a book titled Rock and Other Four-Letter Words, found herself in the company of the Animals when Paul, somewhat accidentally, introduced himself. Their connection was instant, sparking a night of lively conversation and shared interests. Paul's fascination with surrealist artist Magritte piqued Linda's curiosity, showcasing her depth beyond the typical rock scene. As they explored art together, a bond formed, setting the stage for a remarkable journey ahead. Despite the distance separating them, their brief encounters left a lasting impression. Linda's return to the U.S. didn't end her feelings for Paul. If anything, they grew stronger with time. In a rare moment of vulnerability, she confessed, "Paul McCartney is so wonderful. I really am in love with him." Now, Paul McCartney's journey to find true love was marked by twists and turns, but when he met Linda Eastman, everything fell into place. In 1968, amidst an unhappy relationship with actress Jane Asher, Paul reconnected with Linda during a trip to New York City. However, their relationship wasn't without its complications. Paul was still entangled with Jane and another woman, Francie Schwartz, causing confusion and uncertainty. Despite the complexities, Paul's bond with Linda blossomed rapidly. By December of that year, Linda was expecting their child, marking the beginning of their journey towards marriage. Paul sought permission from Linda's father and formally proposed during Christmas. Their whirlwind romance culminated in a civil ceremony on March 12, 1969, at Marylebone's Town Hall. Despite the lack of an official announcement, fans gathered in droves, expressing their sorrow that the last Beatle was off the market. Her life after marriage to Paul. Now Linda McCartney faced a barrage of hate and criticism, particularly following her marriage to Paul McCartney and the subsequent breakup of the Beatles. The blame for the band's dissolution often fell on Linda and Yoko Ono, leading to personal threats and intimidation. Linda also recounted terrifying encounters, including an incident where someone pushed a flaming newspaper through her front door on the day of her wedding. The constant fear of threats took a toll on her well-being, leaving her feeling vulnerable and overwhelmed. Not only that, Linda also went through a strained relationship with the media. Despite marrying into fame, her shyness and discomfort in public often led to portrayals of her as abrasive and lacking charm. Even decades later, she struggled with interviews, feeling as though she couldn't do anything right. Despite all these challenges, Linda found solace in the unwavering support of her husband, Paul. With him by her side, she had the strength to navigate the tumultuous waters of fame and scrutiny. But it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. Talking about their personal relationship, it is rumored that she had quite a complex relationship with Paul. Despite the image of the perfect power couple, Linda and Paul McCartney's relationship had its challenges. Close associates revealed that their dynamic was far from flawless, with conflicts arising from control issues, the pressures of fame, and mental health struggles. But in all this turmoil, Linda was described as a nurturing figure, who embodied the role of a caring mother even to those outside her family circle. From Beatles to Wings. After the dissolution of the Beatles, Paul McCartney began a new musical venture with Wings, and Linda McCartney found herself at the heart of it all. Despite critics' accusations that she orchestrated the formation of Wings, Linda revealed in an interview that it was Paul who encouraged and pushed her to join the band. She admitted to the challenges of the music industry, saying that it wasn't a path she had actively sought out, but rather a decision made out of love and a desire to be together with Paul. During their musical paths, Paul and Linda also found solace and inspiration on their farm in Scotland. Initially viewed as a mere investment opportunity, the farm transformed into a place of significance and serenity for the couple. Paul reflected on how Linda's presence changed his perspective, turning their time on the farm into something truly special and meaningful. Their experiences in Scotland would later influence their music, particularly their album Ram. Paul credited the idyllic countryside and family life with Linda as integral to the creative process, shaping the sound and themes of their musical collaborations. Linda McCartney on being vegetarian. Linda McCartney was ahead of her time when it came to embracing vegetarianism, long before it became trendy. Her journey into vegetarianism was deeply rooted in her experiences on the Scottish farm that she shared with Paul McCartney. Paul revealed that their decision to adopt a meat-free lifestyle stemmed from observing the sheep on their farm, leading them to make the connection between the animals they raised and the meat on their plates. This realization sparked a big shift in their philosophy towards food. Despite the social stigma surrounding vegetarianism in the 1970s, Linda and Paul stood firm in their beliefs. Their daughter Mary emphasized that their decision was a joint effort and highlighted Linda's influential role in their family's dietary choices. But did you know Linda's passion for vegetarianism extended beyond her personal life? She became a vocal advocate, spreading awareness through her vegetarian cookbooks and founding Linda McCartney Foods in 1991. Her innovative frozen vegetarian meals revolutionized the food industry, making meat-free options more accessible and appealing to a wider audience. The acquisition of Linda McCartney Foods by major corporations like H.J. Heinz Company and the Hain Celestial Group further solidified its impact and cemented Linda's legacy as a trailblazer in the vegetarian food movement. Her dedication to promoting vegetarianism continued with the publication of additional cookbooks, including Linda's Kitchen, which earned a nomination for a prestigious James Beard Foundation Award. Linda McCartney was a passionate advocate for animal rights, throwing her support behind organizations like PETA and Friends of the Earth. She spoke out against cruelty to animals, using her platform to raise awareness and promote compassion. Plus, McCartney's involvement in activism extended to environmental causes, as seen in her support for the Council for the Protection of Rural England and her patronage of the League Against Cruel Sports. Her dedication to these issues earned her widespread recognition and respect. However, McCartney also faced controversy, notably in 1984 when she was arrested in Barbados for possession of marijuana. Despite this, she remained unapologetic, expressing her belief that marijuana was a mild substance compared to harder drugs. This incident added a layer of complexity to her public persona, but it did not diminish her commitment to her causes. In 2021, her family honored her legacy by updating and veganizing her recipes in the cookbook Linda McCartney's Family Kitchen, ensuring her influence on vegetarian cuisine lives on. Linda McCartney's cancer battle and legacy. Did you know that Linda McCartney faced a tough battle against breast cancer, which tragically spread to her liver? Despite the prognosis, she remained surrounded by her family until her passing at the age of 56 on April 17, 1998, at the family ranch in Tucson, Arizona. Her ashes were scattered at the family farm in Sussex, England, where she found solace and peace. Remembered fondly by her husband Paul, she was commemorated in memorial services attended by close friends and celebrities alike. Paul, who was deeply affected by her loss, vowed to carry on her legacy, particularly her advocacy for vegetarianism and animal rights. In her will, Linda left her estate to Paul, who pledged to continue her work in vegetarian food production, ensuring it remained free from genetically modified organisms, GMOs. Her passing marked the end of a remarkable life dedicated to creativity, compassion, and activism. Now, her daughter Stella McCartney carries forward her mother's passion for activism, channeling it into her vegan skincare line. Reflecting on Linda's pioneering role in the animal rights movement, Stella acknowledges her mother's profound impact on her own journey. Meanwhile, Mary McCartney honors her mother's memory through her photography, following in her footsteps as a visual storyteller. Beyond her artistic pursuits, Mary's involvement with Maggie's charity reflects a shared commitment to supporting families affected by cancer, a cause close to Linda's heart. From swinging 60s to devoted wife and mother. You see, Linda McCartney's life journey is a fascinating tale of transformation. From her days as a celebrity groupie to her role as a beloved wife, mother, and humanitarian. Despite her colorful past, Linda's enduring legacy is one of compassion, dedication, and love. But did you know that in her early years, Linda pursued relationships with some of the biggest names in showbiz, earning herself a reputation as a glamorous figure in the swinging 60s scene? Her list of lovers included iconic figures like Jim Morrison and Warren Beatty, showcasing her allure and influence in the world of entertainment. However, it was her fateful encounter with Paul McCartney, the last single Beatle, that would change the course of her life. Despite initial skepticism and criticism, Linda and Paul's relationship blossomed into a lifelong romance built on genuine love and mutual respect. Their shared experiences in the music industry and similar life paths forged a deep connection that transcended fame and fortune. Despite facing public scrutiny and ridicule, Linda remained steadfast in her commitment to Paul and their family. Together, they weathered the challenges of fame and maintained a strong bond that lasted until her untimely passing in 1998. Throughout their marriage, Linda embraced her role as a devoted wife and mother, supporting Paul in his musical endeavors while also pursuing her own passions, including animal rights activism and vegetarianism. Her genuine compassion and warmth inspired everyone she encountered, leaving a lasting impression on those who knew her. Despite her glamorous past, Linda's true legacy lies in her dedication to making the world a better place. As an advocate for animal rights, she lent her voice to various organizations and initiatives, using her platform to champion causes close to her heart. In her final years, Linda's focus shifted towards her family and her legacy, including her successful line of vegetarian meals. Her quiet revolution in PR terms transformed her public image from that of a controversial figure to that of a respected humanitarian and entrepreneur. In the end, Linda McCartney's life was a testament to the power of love, compassion, and resilience. Her story serves as an inspiration to all who strive to make a positive impact on the world, reminding us that true greatness lies not in fame or fortune, but in the depth of our relationships and the kindness we show to others. Linda McCartney may have started her journey as a glamorous figure in the swinging 60s, but she ended it as a beloved wife, mother, and humanitarian, leaving behind a legacy that will last for generations to come. What do you think was the most surprising aspect of Linda McCartney's life story? Did her transformation from a celebrity groupie to a devoted wife and mother change your perception of her? Make sure to subscribe to the channel and let us know in the comments. See you in the next one.